have visa to go to Egypt, just phone her.
Okay.
And she will talk to the head of immigration that, look, don't waste his time. Let him welcome him.
Yes.
Ironically, sir. We're in the same meeting room.
I have to attend to this meeting now. I'll see you later.
Go.
Oh, that's very good. Our Minister, Our Excellency, Professor Rufai is already in the room. And we also have the #1 quality assurance juggernaut of the whole world, Cynthia Jackson Hammond, who is the president of Chair CIQG. We have her already in the room. Please note that this event that is starting at 12 noon GMT, that's about 30 minutes. Cynthia had to wake up early to be able to attend this event. I think your time, Cynthia, will be like about 8 a.m. Is it? Am I correct?
You are correct.
Yeah, but to 8 a.m. You see, so for her to wake up, it shows the love that she has for quality. It shows three things. One, the love that she has for quality in higher education in the world. Two, the support that she wants to give to Association of African Universities of Professor Olushola Oyewole as Secretary General. And third, the love that she has for Africa, for development of education, quality education in Africa. So that is a program that we're going to run through for the day. My pleasure to invite Dr. Fred Awa to continue with the introduction. Fred, are you there? Okay, Fred is no longer there. Okay, so go on with introducing.
I'm here.
Yeah. Wake up. So go on. Welcome, people. That's your.
Thank you very much.
Zubeida is marking our screen. Please, Zubeida, I don't know. Please don't mark the screen if you. Please be kind enough not to mark the screen. Well, Fred is very slow. I don't like slow people. So I'm introducing Professor Isaac Boswat, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic of Administration, of National Open University of Nigeria.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon.
Aminu Dalhat Kankia, Professor Sunday alum, Professor Remy Oyewenyi, salute you, sir. Let's keep going. Dr. Adekule Oladejo, who is staff of the Office of the AAU Higher Education Ambassador for West Africa, Vice Chancellor Charity Aremu of Landmark, James Olujoba Degboye, Professor Farouk Abdul Wahab. Oh yes, Ambassador Professor Joy Yisi, very proud of you all the time. You were here, you came in very early. Thank you, ma'am. Professor Abba Abdullahi, Professor Bayo Asala, Saint Choku, Professor A.P. Izebohai. Of course, I already introduced Professor Pascal Nosike. You all must come on the 7th of July, about a month from now, to his university where he's hosting the world. I will share the invitation with you in due course. Fred, continue.
Thank you so much for joining us, and I want to continue to welcome all of the vice chancellors from the university community in West Africa, especially those from the National Open University.
No, not in West Africa. We have from all over Africa and outside of it. It's a general launch that Professor Oyewole is conducting today.
Yes, so I want to thank all of you for joining us from different parts of the world. And then this event promises to be one that would shape the higher education discourse within the sub-region. We want to thank you for joining us. Then I want to yield the floor back to Professor Peter.
Yeah, don't yield any floor to me. I'm not taking any floor. Don't you have, can't you scroll scroll through the attendance, we have 144 people in the room. Of course, the person who has brought us all here today, the one and only Professor Olushola Oyewole, is already in the room. He's our chair, is the chair of the event. We will be introducing him proper later. Professor Farouk Abdul Wahab. We already introduced our Honorable Minister, Professor Rukayat Ahmed Rufai. Of course, we have right here Stamenka Uvalistrumich. That is the, you see, Stamenka is somebody who stands very tall in global higher education quality assurance. She takes credit for a number of initiatives in quality assurance in higher education in the world, especially when she was the head of quality assurance at UNESCO. Several initiatives oozed from her desk. I've been mentioning a couple of them as during the course of this event. Nadia Badrawi already introduced. Nadia is a world-class pediatrician, a great medical scientist who was the head of the Arab Region Quality Assurance Organization there and a member of the Chair International Quality Group. Professor Amala Mande from National University of Nigeria, Dr. Sukom Egbileyi, Dr. Ayotela, Dr. Suwadu Bugoma from Burundi. I think she's in Belgium as I speak. We already introduced Professor Abdul Adebayo, Vice Chancellor of, this Sheriff Dean, that's former VC of, let's see now, former VC of
Crescent University.
Yeah, Crescent University. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Professor Mahmoud El Bitani. Let's see what else. Wasi Babala, Professor Miriam. Papali Makalika. So we're counting down now to about 4 minutes, and we will take, we will introduce our chair, and then we'll move on from there on the program. Dr. Fred Awa, are you still there?
I am here, sir.
Yeah, so continue. I mean, you can, Professor Kingsley, Owete, can't you scroll on the pages and see the people?
So we also want to continue to welcome Professor Omar Mohammed, Professor Charity Aremu, Acting VC, Professor Citron Ugu, Professor Jumbo Echeme, Dr. Bayo Asala, Professor AP Azeyokai, Professor Remy Onyenwole, Professor Hasiam Pichoku, Professor Adorenke Olutola Amos, Professor Angela Opala, Professor Nadia Badrawi, Professor Rabiu Ibrahim, Professor Samson Ayalaja, Professor Aminu Dalat Kankia, Professor Francisca, Professor Mata Nkechinyeri.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fred Awa. I can see Professor Elijah Yolabi, who is Vice Chancellor of Mountaintop University. Of course, Professor Juma Shabani has been here. He was here about an hour earlier. Professor Adekunle Musa. Oh, yeah, that's Professor Musa. Musa Olokuta, is that the one? Professor Caroline Obashuru. Wow, wonderful. Dr. Adewale Adesina. Dr. Edwin Ayuk Deep, Umpegan, and the Way Dorcas. Monday Abel Otachi. Dr. Chirekpa Elisha Omosho. Oh yeah, this Vice Chancellor, let me see, Vice Chancellor of Caleb University. Oh, Professor Nosa Owenibe, I greet you, sir. We have several Vice Chancellors here, several chartered accreditors and dignitaries from all over Africa to celebrate Professor Lushola Oyewole, who is Secretary General AAU. Since he came to our office a few months ago, there is Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt is this sprinter. When Usain Bolt grabs the baton, or baton if you like, gallops. So he took the baton from Tine Hile, and the man is running, galloping ahead. He has initiated several projects, and we're happy that he's going to launch one of his several projects. The morning shows the day. You know, you see the child that is going to be bright in the future. You know that child, when the child goes up. We have a saying in my area that the child who will be a shamu, his mouth will be making sham. So, so Professor Olusola Oyewole, the Secretary General of AAU, Voice of Africa in Higher Education, is going to be doing quite a lot of wonders. I'm going to now yield to Professor Goski Alabi, who is the moderator of this event. Please just give me a minute. Professor Goski Alabi is one of our leaders in quality assurance in higher education, one of our leaders in governance. Yeah, let me mute everybody now so we can have some quiet in the room. And if you don't mind, we'll start recording the session from now.
Recording in progress.
Can you help us to play that video?
Yes, I will, sir. I will, but at the appropriate time. At the appropriate time. Yes, sir. Yeah, so I would like to welcome Professor Goski Alabi. Professor Goski Alabi is the president of ACD, African Distance Education Council. Of course, we have your vice president, Professor Femi Peters, already in the room. Professor Goski Alabi, as I said, is when you talk about quality assurance in higher education in Africa, she stands very, very tall. Professor Goski Alabi, can you please stand? You are sitting down. Let me see. We want to see how tall you are. I'm joking. I say you stand very tall, so I'm joking. Now, she is the moderator of the program. She is the proprietor of one of the leading universities, national open universities in Africa, Ilawe Open University. So I have the pleasure to ask Her Excellency, Professor Goski Alabi, to take the floor. We are moderating the program. And the program looks, as I shared earlier, like this. So Professor Goski Alabi, over to you. Yeah, Professor Goski Alabi, we cannot hear you. What we try to do in this program is if we cannot hear somebody, we don't want to have any gap, so we just keep going on with it. Professor Goski Alabi, are you ready to invite the chairman, to introduce and invite the chairman?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Yes, Prof. Yes, thank you very much, Prof. Okebukula, and our Secretary General, Professor Olusola Oyewole. On behalf of the AAU, I'd like to welcome all of us to this very important landmark event in higher education on the continent. Professor Okebukula, our distinguished professor, of course, will take over from here to introduce the dignitaries, and I invite Dr. Awa to join him in doing this. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Goski Alabi. Apparently, to save time, we did that. We already, captured all the dignitaries. So we are handing over the baton to you, to introduce the chair of the event, and he will then run us through.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Yes.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's event is being led by no other person than our own Secretary General of the Association of African Universities, the voice of higher education in Africa, in the person of Professor Olushola Oyewole. Professor Oyewole, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, Professor Oyewole, before you take the floor, I'm sorry, I need to flesh out that introduction. Professor Oyewole was Vice Chancellor of one leading Nigerian universities. He was VC of, just a minute, let me mute everybody, and anybody who wants to take the floor, I will then unmute.
I mute my distance. Why are you unmuting me?
Yeah, just give me a minute. There is this person. Yeah. So, Professor Oyewole, I will make you a co-host so that you can mute and unmute at your convenience. I'll also make Cynthia co-host and the other speakers. Yes. So, Professor Oyewole was Vice Chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Before this time, he occupied several top positions in university management. A great scientist. He was at the African Union Commission. And during that time, Professor Oyewole prepared the ground for several of the initiatives that are now happening in the higher education space in Africa. Talk about the African Quality Rating Mechanism, talk about the Pan-African Quality Assurance Framework, talk about the harmonization issues. He was there at the AAU headquarters. And then he came back, became Vice Chancellor, and then is now Secretary General of the Association of African Universities. Professor Olushola Oyewole, please give us your welcome remarks as chair of this event.
Thank you very much, Professor Peter Okebukola, and indeed everyone on this platform. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this very special event in the African higher education space, and indeed we are making history through the activity of today. The AAU is an international organization that was set up in 1967 by universities in Africa to promote cooperation and collaboration among African universities and the international academic community. We are the voice of higher education in Africa, and we aim to raise the quality of African higher education with the goal of strengthening their capacity to contribute to African development. AAU, as a key higher education body in Africa, is committed to being the lead advocate for higher education in the continent. Our mission is to enhance the quality and relevance of higher education in Africa and strengthening its contribution to African development. I came on board as the Secretary General of AAU just 7 months ago. And one of the things we have done is to set up an AAU African Higher Education Policy Forum, which will serve as a source of data for evidence-based policies in higher education in Africa. This forum is being established on regional basis, and each of the regions in Africa will be led by a distinguished African who has made substantive contributions to higher education in the region. It's my pleasure today to welcome every one of us to this history-making occasion where we are launching the Regional Forum for Higher Education in Africa. And the first region we are launching is that of West Africa. And it's also my pleasure to welcome you to this very special occasion where we are launching and announcing the first AAU Higher Education Ambassador in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be talking more about this later on in this program, but let me welcome you to this special occasion in African development. You are all welcome.
Moderator, back to you. Okay, apparently the moderator is muted. I will look for.
I'm unmuted now.
Yes, please. Yes. Let's take this thing very with.
Thank you very much, Professor Oyawole. May we now go on to have a brief overview of the African higher education system from our own Professor Juba Shubani. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, Juma, I think I'll look for him. Juma, where are you? Are you going to be taking it from? Yeah, Juma, you have the floor because you are made a co-host. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Juma, we're waiting.
Prof. Juma, you have 5 minutes.
Yeah, no. He has 10 minutes. Juma, we are waiting.
Muted,
Is Juma there?
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Long time.
Okay. So, okay. Now let me start quickly. An overview of the higher education system. First, we know that till the early 2000s, higher education system, we had several systems, Anglophone, Francophone, and it was really difficult to compare them. So it is from the 2003 that the system were harmonized using the BMD reform implemented by the French countries, French-speaking, Portuguese, and Spanish country-speaking. So it became a harmonized BMD system. And one of the goals of this harmonization was to contribute to the construction of the higher education and research space. Now, what is the methodology for that? Of course, it is different from what happened in Europe, where the process was supported by the European community and then by the Bologna system process. In Africa, the process will build on the regional economic communities, and also it will use at least 3 main areas, main pillars. The first one being legal framework for mutual recognition of qualifications, then harmonization of accreditation and quality assurance, and harmonization of programs. And then, of course, networking of the centers of excellence and the academic and research structures. Now, the legal framework we had, it is made up of 2 components. The first one is the Addis Ababa Convention, which is mainly for mutual recognition of academic qualifications. There is another element of the framework. This is the mutual recognition agreements. This is for professional qualifications. The Addis Ababa Convention, as you know, was adopted following the revision of the Arusha Convention. And what is new is that the Addis Convention contains new objectives which were not there, like objective on establishment of quality assurance, accreditation mechanisms, joint programs, harmonization of higher education qualifications, and the use of regional and national qualification frameworks. So we think that these benefits that can derive from these new objectives can be used to convince countries to ratify the Addis Ababa Convention. The second component is the mutual recognition of professional qualifications. In Europe, it works very well using some directives of the European Parliament, of the Council of Europe. But in Africa, it has some problems. All the regions and the continent, they have protocols on freedom of movement, freedom of persons, services, rights of residence, and so on. In order to operationalize these protocols, there is need for to implement the mutual recognition agreements. But there are several problems, several challenges, mainly due to the fact that there is no compatibility between the agreement at regional level and the practices at national level. So you agree at the regional level, but at national it cannot be implemented. Now, that was the first pillar, the legal frameworks. Now we come to the accreditation and the harmonization of accreditation and quality assurance, which is the second pillar of the construction of the African higher education space. This is implemented through three main initiatives: the LMD reform, mainly in Francophone countries, Portuguese-speaking and Spanish-speaking countries in Africa. The second one is the HAQUA, harmonization of accreditation and quality assurance, and then the Pan-African Quality Assurance and Accreditation Framework. Now, quickly, the HAQUA initiative, it helps to establish what is called the African Standards and Guidelines for Higher Education, for quality assurance. And now, all the quality assurance agencies are trying to align with these new standards, which are established at the African level. HAQUA is also leading the two processes. One, to establish a Pan-African accreditation and quality assurance agencies. Here, Professor Okebokola led the process of feasibility study, which is quite advanced. And also, it is leading the process of establishing an African credit and accumulation and transfer system. Initially, it was entrusted to another project, but now it is led by HAQUA, the HAQUA initiative. Now, the Pan-African Quality Assurance and Accreditation Framework, again, this was developed by Professor Okebokola and a Belgian consultant, Dr. Bart Fontaine. This is a framework which has, builds on 6 initiatives, which are expected to be implemented in an integrated manner to achieve the quality in higher education in Africa. It is composed of the ASG, I talked about that, Continental Qualifications Framework, the African Quality Rating Mechanism, the Addis Ababa Convention, African Credit Accumulation System, and the Continental Register for Quality Assurance Agencies and Institutions. So now the third pillar is harmonization of programs. You have at continental level what we call the Tuning Africa project, which has already harmonized a number of programs in 8 areas. And at regional levels, there are some examples like East African Community with at least 8 programs, and ECOWAS with the West African Health Organization, which accredited harmonized all the programs in medical studies. So in conclusion, the methodology that should be used to build the African higher education research space is made up of the following steps. First, harmonization of curriculum using the tuning project. Now, of course, we need to see whether there is a complete coherence between regional levels and also the continental one, the tuning project. Second, we need to harmonize quality assurance and accreditation mechanism by aligning them to the African standards and guidelines in quality assurance. We need also to harmonize credit transfer and accumulation systems, because currently they are different. When you use Francophone space or Anglophone, they are different. There is need to harmonize. Then the last one is to align national and regional qualifications frameworks with the African Continental Qualifications Framework. I think this is the program that should be used to move forward with the development of the African higher education and research space. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. We are grateful that you have been able to keep to the time. We have been able to save some time. We will now move on very quickly to the messages from our cherished organizations and partners. And here we would start with
Professor Rukayat Ahmed Rufai, who was, yes, okay.
Professor Ahmed Rufai. Professor Rufai, if you are there, kindly take the floor. You have 3 minutes to give us a goodwill message. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, maybe before you take the floor, I'd like the audience to know that Professor Rukayat Ahmed Rufai is one of our most successful, Nigeria, most successful Minister of Education. She was Minister of Education, that's the equivalent of the Secretary of Education in the US for 4 years. During her tenure of office as Secretary of Education, that is using the US label, she had to accredit numerous achievements in quality, especially the higher education subsector. And so we do this rating and ranking thing. She was a 5-star Minister of Education. So I thought we need to introduce her properly. So back to you, ma'am, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. It is a great pleasure to be among eminent personalities with a common commitment to promoting quality education delivery in the African continent. As we all know, the common denominator for dynamism of the continent and enhancing the socio-economic and competitive standing is education. I thank the Association of African Universities and its dynamic leadership for taking the mantle towards the acceleration of the implementation of the Addis Ababa Convention. The convention will enhance building a connected higher education community in our continent, as well as ensuring universal access and affordable quality tertiary education. The key is implementation. Drawing from experience on similar issues, a few years ago, as Nigeria's Minister of Education, Nigeria had the honor of hosting the Conference of Ministers of Education of the African Union, COMADEF, with me as the chair. On July 18, 2013, coinciding with the birthday of the great Nelson Mandela, at the headquarters of the African Union, I addressed fellow African education ministers at the first ordinary session of the Bureau of COMADEF. The aim of this was to follow up on the implementation of collective decisions on education and act as an early warning mechanism to address the challenge and constraints to implementation at both regional and continental levels. Areas that we were then concerned about for implementation were TVET, administrative structure of the African University, and teacher quality. As we strive towards implementing the Addis Ababa Convention, we need to continue to evolve a collective approach. The Association of African Universities was keenly involved in the merging of the Conference of African Ministers of Education and the African Ministerial Council on Science and Technology, AMCOS, to become a single body, the Specialized Technical Committee on Education, Science and Technology. I believe the implementation of the Addis Ababa Convention will be held by ensuring that this body of African Ministers of Education and Science and Technology becomes central in the implementation process. The Association of African Universities, I'm sure, will no doubt be leading in ensuring the involvement of this important African Union body. In working towards implementation, individual countries should work on using the convention to further build on enhancing quality and global mobility, considering that implementation is complementary with the Global Convention on the Recognition of Qualifications concerning higher education. In my own country, Nigeria, for example, It will help to strengthen work we have done in the areas of National Vocational Qualifications Framework and occupational standards. Once again, I congratulate the AAU and its commitment to higher education for the continent and greatly hope that the message will get across the continent and those concerned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Rufaya. It's an inspiration. Thank you. Shall we now move on to UNESCO and have a message from His Excellency Peter Wells?
Thank you very much, Professor Albi. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, loud and very clear. By the way, let me introduce Peter Moore. Peter heads higher education in UNESCO. As you're aware, UNESCO is the #1 organization on educational issues for science and culture. Peter has seen action in different regions of the world. Peter, we are hoping that you will see more action in Africa. That's why we are bringing you here. That's why you successfully implemented the World Conference on Higher Education 2022, successfully implemented it. And we're looking forward to your, we're going to give you a chieftaincy title in Nigeria and also in Ghana so that you can be part of us. Back to you, Peter. Congratulations on a well-run World Conference, third World Conference on Higher Education.
Thank you so much, Peter, from one Peter to another. And also, we've known each other for a long time, but I'm also very honored to be joining this distinguished group today of rectors, university presidents, and of course, the president of the African Association of Universities. Indeed, we have just come out of the third World Higher Education Conference, UNESCO's third conference in Barcelona 2 weeks ago now. You will be hearing from my dear friend and former UNESCO colleague who organized the second World Conference shortly, Stamenka. But maybe just to reflect a little bit on the outcomes of that conference. And one of the key messages, not only from the conference participants, but also from the Director General for UNESCO and the Assistant Director General for Education, Madame Giannini, was the importance of access to inclusive, quality higher education for all, and the impact that can have on peace building and knowledge sharing, not only for cognitive intelligence and emotional intelligence, but also cultural intelligence. And the backbone of that really does fall to the opportunities for international exchange in higher education, exchange of students, exchange of faculty, exchange of researchers, institutional leadership, bringing in diaspora from all over the world, from all over the continent in the African context, to be able to build and share on knowledge. And the conventions, which is one of the key reasons we are meeting today, the Addis Convention for the Africa region, of course, but the other regional conventions for different regions, but now we also have the Global Convention, really do underpin in a normative way an opportunity to increase international cooperation in research, learning, teaching, and as I say, cultural intelligence. There are maybe 3 key elements to the Addis Convention, as there are to the other regionals and the Global Convention. And they are this: information, information, information. Information, one, on what are your national higher education systems, what's the qualifications frameworks, what are the the systems of higher education, or of higher education. What information is there on the universities, the recognized officially recognized institutions and their programs? And the third, information on how is all of this quality assured? What are the quality assurance mechanisms and processes in place? And those three types of information form the real foundation for the Addis Convention. And I know you are all working on providing this information to ensure greater mobility exchange within the African continent. I would also say this, and I know I have no time, but I would make a broader plea to really urge your respective countries to ratify the Addis Convention and the Global Convention. So far, we have 13 countries in Africa. What really it boils down to this: by ratifying the Addis Convention and the Global Convention, it sends a very strong signal to the rest of the continent, to the rest of the world, that your country takes higher education seriously, that you are committed to it. All of the provisions do not need to be in place at the beginning. It's a process, it's a journey. But beginning that journey at to start with is ratifying the convention and sending a signal, we would like to do this. And this, coming back to the World Conference and the roadmap that Madame Giannini, the Assistant Director General, announced at the end of the conference, the roadmap is a journey. It's a journey to where we would like to be, where individual institutions, systems of higher education would like to be by the 2030 agenda and beyond. It's not one size fits all. It never would be. It's about looking to your systems and your institutions of what they want to be for the communities they serve, either at the local, national, or regional level. I'll stop there, and thank you so much, Madam Chair, for allowing me to join this very important discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Peter Wells. And just to re-echo the need for the call for ratification of the Addis Convention. We are grateful, sir. Shall we now move on for a message for our message from, let me get the name correctly, Professor Cynthia Jackson Hammond, President of SHARE, the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. Shall we have our distinguished Professor Okebukula give us a little more insight to the background? Thank you very much.
Of course, with a lot of pleasure. We have the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. Which is the umbrella organization for all the quality assurance agencies or entities in the United States. Now, sitting at top of chair, that's Council for Higher Education Accreditation, is the president. And we are so delighted to have her, Professor Cynthia Jackson Hammond. She assumed office as president not too long ago, but the power that she commands is more than the power that Joe Biden commands. Why? Because you see, the education, our daddy, Professor Payo Banya, is in the room. And I'm so honored, so delighted, to have him here with us. He retired as Assistant Director General of UNESCO. And we know that education is at the heart of development. So, Cynthia, we are very delighted to have you. And you've been in office for a year plus in chair. And the money shows the day, too. You have come up with you brought a freshness of vision to chair and coming up with a lot of exciting programs and projects. So, please take the floor and address us for 3 minutes.
Thank you, and I will certainly honor the 3 minutes. I bring you greetings from the United States and from the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, known as CHIA, Compliments to Professor Oyewale, Professor Peter Akibokola, and the AAU conference planners for this very, very important event. CHIA and the CHIA International Quality Group supports the diligence of effort in encouraging African countries to ratify the resolutions presented at the World Higher Education Conference in Barcelona. Africa, as a continent filled with intellectual vitality, energy, and vision, is positioned to be a world change agent and set the course for quality academic standards at all of its universities. The world needs Africa and its brilliance of young people. Setting standards of quality within its borders sends a clear and defined message that African universities are academic leaders and are world players in quality assurance. Congratulations to the 13 African countries that have forged ahead in quality assurance in higher education. The Council for Higher Education Accreditation, known as CHIA, stands ready to assist your journey. And we encourage the other 54 countries to move forward aggressively to adopt the same practices. You deserve these opportunities, and so do your students and their families. Again, the Council for Higher Education Accreditation and the CHIA International Quality Group offer sincere appreciation to the Association of African Universities for forging new pathways of excellence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Cynthia Hammond. We are grateful for your call to action with regards to the global resolutions from the just ended World Higher Education Conference. Thank you. Shall we now move on to no other than our own Stomachar? May we invite Professor Okebukula to give us a little more background. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Goski-Alabi. I'm wondering why you're asking me to give you a little more background, because you know them as well as I do. Cynthia, thank you again, for making this event is very early hours, where you are in the US. And thank you for the prompt that the other African countries outside the 13 that had already ratified the convention, Addis and the global, should take steps. I want to assure you, Cynthia, that this will be one of the triggers of such steps. We're going to march on gallantly forward under the leadership of Professor Olusola Oyewole. So I've been asked to add a few more things to introduce Stamenka Vali-Strombech. If I start, it's going to take 10 hours, but let me do it in 10 seconds. Stamenka used to be the head of quality assurance in UNESCO. And what she did when she was in service is monumental. Many of the conventions, many of the tweaking of the quality assurance operations that we're seeing globally now, as I said earlier, originated from the office. Stamenka has been part of us in Africa, a number of the programs and projects that we have been implementing over the last 1 year or so. So let it be that I will invite her now, Stamenka Vali-Strombech, to give us a goodwill message in 3 minutes. I'm sure you are happy, Stamenka, that all these good things that you started, Peter Wells mentioned that you were his predecessor in office, and you were noted for setting the foundations for many of these things. So I'm sure you are happy today that we are discussing that this event is happening. Stamenka.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter, very much for this introduction. You always exaggerate a little bit when you introduce me, but thank you for giving me the honor and inviting me to be part of this session, which indeed gives me great pleasure, because it is an evolution of certain things I have been working on. It is also a great pleasure to see many of my former colleagues and the people that I have worked with and I have known. I was happy at the World Conference, at the World Higher Education Conference in Barcelona to meet again, Professor Oyewole, whom I congratulate for becoming the Secretary General of the African Association of Universities. And I think this initiative that you're launching today is a very important one. Now, to focus on the Addis Convention. The Addis Convention is a continuation of this new generation of conventions that started with the Lisbon Recognition Convention in 1997, with new principles adapting to the transformations of higher education. And I've been involved in that, and I can take credit for that. But all the rest has been evolving, and indeed ratifying the convention is a good is the first step, and an invitation has already been made. So it is quite important to start with this first step. Cynthia, and today I'm also representing not only my past in UNESCO, but my present as a member of the Advisory Council of the CIQD, the TRIA International Quality Group. Cynthia said that the world needs Africa, and I think this is very true. And I remember, Peter Okebukola, what you said at the GUNI conference in Barcelona again many years ago, that Africa will lead the way to higher education in the 21st century. So I think that maybe this is the first step in that direction, not the first. So much has been achieved in Africa. We've heard it from Juma Shabani, so that's a very good start. But I would like to go back to what Peter Wells has said when he said information. Ratifying the convention is the first step. Having the convention as a legal instrument is extremely important, and it is legally binding. It's international law. But that is not enough, because there needs to be awareness raising that such a convention exists. There needs to be information about what this convention can bring to you. And this is why I have, through my experience with the recognition conventions, I always insist that the national information centers are extremely important in that respect, to provide different levels of information on the higher education systems that exist. I have lost you. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can see. It's only Greg Parsley that is sharing his whiteboard. I'm wondering why he's doing that. But please go on, we can hear you. Yeah. I've stopped him.
So, and I think doing this, having this regional approach is a very good way of organizing this information sharing, and beginning with that.
Sorry, can Gregory Parsley stop sharing his whiteboard, please, sir? Greg Parsley. Yeah, please go on, Stamenka.
So, well, this is, Peter Wells has also underlined the importance of mobility in creating this cultural intelligence, which is a term I like very much. So I wish you luck. There are many tools that exist that can help from around the world, from other regional conventions. And the fact that the global convention has been adopted is also very much part of this agenda. So it can support, you can support each other, as is another tool that I really give credit to UNESCO and to Peter Wells, is the UNESCO quality, what is it called? Passport for refugees, qualifications passport for refugees, because at this point in time, the world is changing, not always for the better, and we have and having this qualification passports for refugees is an extremely important instrument among many others that exist, and you have mentioned them. National.
Yes, Tamenka, can you round up now, please? Can you round up now? Can
Yes.
you wrap up here, please?
Yes. So I'm ending with this, and thank you again, and congratulate you on this initiative.
Thank you very much, Her Excellencies Tameka. You've always been an inspiration, and I recall the first time I met you, I really looked up to you. Thanks for your leadership in the field. Shall we now move on to Professor Hasmik Tochen, if I got the name right, from UNESCO to address us. You have the floor, sir.
Yeah, I don't think Hasmik is in the room.
Okay.
There's somebody who's messing us up here.
Yes.
This what a pity. Yeah, there's somebody who's messing us up. Yeah, can you go on to the last person? Can you go on to the last?
Distinguished Prof, yes. Shall we now come to overall global and have our address from Ramon Torrent? Thank you. Ramon, over to you. Hello, Ramon.
Yeah, let me check if he's there.
He should be.
Yes, he is. I'm going to ask him to unmute.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it's right now.
Okay. Thank you. Over to you, Ramon.
Good morning. Today we are participating in a paradigmatic example of an initiative of Africa for Africa in the area of higher education. Africa has received probably too many recommendations from non-Africans. So I will not add to this. As president of Real Global, the lead institution of the HACWA implementing consortium, in which the only African member is our beloved Association of African Universities, I can only tell you, go ahead, thinking on Africa from Africa. HACWA, and through it, the European Union will be supporting you. Count on us, and good luck. I'm sure you will have good ideas and good implementation. It has been an honor being able to address to you these modest words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ramon. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the very heart of our meeting here today. And I have the singular honor to introduce our very distinguished professor of the African continent. And for those who know him, he needs no introduction, because if we have to start, it should take us another 1 month. Therefore, allow me to invite Professor Okebukula, Peter Okebukula, to give us the keynote address. My mentor, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you also very much. The title of this address is The Morning After the World Higher Education Conference 2022, towards action by AAU in implementing the Addis Convention. I'd like to welcome you all. There are 328 persons in the room as I speak, including the, including ministers, the UNESCO juggernauts, heads of national quality assurance agencies, and all the stakeholders in education in Africa that we have here. I'd like us to ponder on a number of things. Oh, I'm so sorry. Somebody is messing up our, okay, well, to point out a number of things. The first is that in 2006, we had a survey of vice chancellors in Nigeria university system, and just about 2% of them were aware. There's this Gregory Parsley that is messing us up. I tried to locate him. Please just give a minute. I can't even find him. I think it's out to disrupt work, but I'll keep taking him
Peter,
out.
that is an international virus.
Oh, yes, I know it is. I know it is, yes. So less than 2% of vice chancellors in the Nigerian university system were aware in 2006 of a Addis Convention that was in place in 1981. And less than 1% of them knew the details of the provisions. Last year, less than 4% of senior academics, about 423 of them, were aware of Addis Ababa Convention. So it gladdens my heart a lot because I can conjecture that the African region, the picture will not be different. And that is why Stamenka and Peter Wells did mention information. So the goal of this address and the project we're hoping that it will stimulate is promoting awareness of all stakeholders in Africa, higher education, on the Addis Ababa Convention, and to deepen our understanding of its provisions, not just to know, do you know about Addis Ababa Convention? Oh, yes, I do. But what about the provisions? What are the things that we're expected to undertake when implementing this convention? So the effort here is to mobilize all of us through AAU towards ratification. Cynthia mentioned this, and all the other speakers before now mentioned it, and also the implementation. Now take two case studies. The first one, a 200 level biochemistry student from Ghana applying to a Nigerian university. Let's take University of Ilorin or University of Ibadan to continue his or her studies. Now, what are the chances of that student being placed in a Nigerian university? I asked the vice chancellor, not VC of Ibadan, not VC of Ilorin. So the chances are close to zero. But that was before the 2021 NUC ranking of Nigerian university, because now we're saying that we want to see the international content of your community, students, staff. So this is making them to, but before that time, it's close to zero. Let's take case study number 2. A professor from Kenya applying for sabbatical position in a Nigerian university, where to do some teaching and join the colleagues in implementing collaborative research. What are to have a regional convention. So that's Tameka at the back there. This is Peter Wells on the far right at the back. This is Peter Okebukola here, and this is Juma Shabani. So that's the head of education, UNESCO. We had some fun though in Nanjing, in China. That's Tameka at the back and the rest of us. By 2022, Peter Wells and his team brought us together to the World Higher Education Conference, reinventing higher education for a sustainable world, sustainable future. Happened just 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks plus ago. And I like this, the undergirding questions. If higher education at the university were to be invented today, that means forget about university in the past, assume we have them invented today. 7 important questions. What will these universities look like? Who will participate and complete his or her higher education? How will participants learn? And the rest that you can see here. So that conference, which ended in Barcelona, built on the first conference, then the second conference, which Tameka organized, and these are the themes, the key themes of the conference. Impact of COVID-19, higher education and the SDGs, inclusion in higher education, and all the rest that you can see on the screen. You have the outputs, the outcome, and the impacts. Yes, UNESCO's response, we have the Global Convention, which is now available for ratification, very well put together. Unit 2, UNESCO chairs programs, qualifications passport for refugees and vulnerable migrants initiative. So let's get back to it. The revised convention it's a mouthful. If you don't want to say it all, you say Addis Ababa Convention. If you want to be short again, you say Addis Convention. So I sent to all participants the document, the Addis Convention. So I believe you will have seen it. But what are the chief aims? To promote interregional and international cooperation in the field of recognition of qualifications. It was about this, effective quality assurance, limiting brain drain, facilitating exchange and greater mobility of students, teachers, and researchers, and all the rest. Let's take a couple of articles from that Addis Convention. Article 3.2, the qualifications issued by the other parties that meet the general requirements for access to these respective higher education programs. In other words, it's mutual. If you recognize your own, my own, I will recognize your own. But there have to be some minimum standards that we have to all agree upon, on the basis of which we are measuring whether I should agree or not agree. Article 3.3, partial studies, provided that it corresponds to the equivalent studies of a higher education program whose recognition is requested. Article 3.4, validation of acquired relevant experience and prior learning. Now, parties agree that with a view to promoting adult education and lifelong learning and the rest. There are obstacles. Chairman, Professor Iwa, ladies and gentlemen, there are obstacles to implementing, which we must remove. That's why we're here. We must remove the obstacles to implementation. Now, there are some obstacles that are persistent. Now, let me look back to the Arusha Convention obstacles. Stameka Van Istrumbi led a global study on the feasibility of the Global Convention, and Juma and I were asked to do the study within Africa. So the purpose of the study you have listed there were to look at challenges encountered in the mutual recognition of conventions. So our respondents were from 17 African countries, Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, and the rest that you can see, ending with Zimbabwe on the screen. What were the major challenges to the Arusha Convention? And I can tell you they are still persistent. Unwillingness of several states to recognize qualifications from some other states for various reasons, including political. Greater disparity in types of qualifications. Lack of proper coordinating and follow-up mechanisms. The efficiency of quality assurance systems differs. Different assessment and curricular prescriptions. Different levels of training between countries pose a challenge. Now, there are some challenges beyond the Arusha Convention that are now emerging. One is insecurity. So you want to go to a university in a country where insecurity is a challenge, that will limit the mobility. The funding constraints. As I said earlier, a number of the universities don't have funds, even for internal movement. That is a lecturer from University A going to other university for sabbatical is a challenge. Degree mills. So you want me to recognize a qualification from a university that the other country, well, maybe is on a recognition list, but it's not a good university. We have this coming up in our NYC program, poorly delivered online courses. So how do I accelerate? That's the heart of this presentation now. How do I accelerate implementation of the Addis Convention in Africa? Now, we're going to develop a strategic plan for the implementation. There's intense advocacy for ratification. That has been said several times over in this meeting by African member states that are yet to ratify. Now, I did mention about the 2005 convention, the role of the Africa Progress Group. What we did with the 2005 convention on the protection and promotion of the diversity of cultural expression is that we got under the ambit of the elder statesmen in Africa, and we took President Obasanjo, we asked President Obasanjo to please endorse our request for ratification of that 2005 convention in Africa, and he wrote some powerful letters that were sent to the president, and he put calls across to them, met them at meetings, and encouraged them to ratify that convention. And we're happy, within 2 years, that convention was. So we're going to work, we're looking at riding on that mechanism through the Africa Progress Group to get other African countries, there are 13 now, many more African countries, to ratify the convention. Accelerating the full implementation of the AU Harmonization of Higher Education agenda is very important. And Professor Yewale and the many members of the special guests here are attending the meeting of ACA2 and AQUA2, and this is about harmonization. I want to applaud the AUC, the AAU on this initiative. When that is done, it will be quite easy. Then we need to incentivize successful practices in the implementation of convention. So those that have implemented, there should be some form of incentives, which we're going to take on when this office is in full swing. Then we should publish case studies of exemplary practices in the implementation of the convention. Juma and I were asked to do this for the Arusha Convention. And at the end of this, I'm going to share with you a report that we did. We went country by country to publish the case studies of exemplary practices. If we do that for the Addis Convention, that will also help. Now, the World Bank Africa Center of Excellence project is one that's also promoting student exchange, going from one country to the other for studies, postgraduate, faculty, that's teacher exchange. So that would need to be strengthened and expanded. And this is something new. We are hoping to initiate what we call the level of implementation of Addis Convention Index, LIAC, L-I-A-C-I, and they rank African countries on the basis of performance on the index. If you wonder what this is, you will know when we flesh out the proposal. Then we should publish annual status report on the implementation of the convention by country by country, and by the sub-region. Thank you for your attention, and we hope that when all of these things are implemented, Africa will be in the lead of implementation of the Addis Convention, as well, of course, as the Global Convention. Back to you, our moderator.
Thank you very much, our distinguished Professor Okebukula, my professional partner and mentor, always learning from your feet. Thank you, sir, for keeping to time. Now, with your permission, sir, may we open the floor probably for 1 or 2 questions, or we should continue and then take a few questions at the end of the lunch.
It's your show, Professor Goski Alabi. By the way, I saw the former Minister of Health of Ghana, Professor Joshua Alabi, who was Vice Chancellor of University of Professional Studies, and that's the husband of Professor Goski Alabi, to give you moral support. So if Professor Joshua Alabi is here, we don't have a choice other than to do your bidding Back to you, Professor Goski-Alabi.
Thank you very much, sir. So we probably may want
Cynthia has her hand up. Cynthia has her hand up.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question. And Peter, thank you so very much for that brilliant summary and the framework for going forward. What do you see, what does AAU see as a possibility for how we in the States can help you or to assist in the promotion of quality assurance? We stand ready to help in any way that we can. We don't have all the answers. We do not, but as we said, this is a journey that we would like to walk with you through. So tell us if you have any ideas of how we can be of assistance to promote this agenda.
Yeah, thank you so very much, Cynthia. See, after the office of the AAU, Higher Education Ambassador for West Africa, where it's launched, we'll come up with a plan which will have you feature very prominently. And we will be sharing that plan through our boss, the Professor Lushola Oyewole, SG AAU, with you. Thank you very much, Cynthia, for giving us the inkling, the idea that you're willing, to support Africa.
Thank you very much, Prof. We have one more, and that is Pascal. Shall we have Pascal?
From the UK. Yes. Make it brief, Professor Pascal.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Kibuka. I can only echo what Cynthia has said about that wonderful implementation plan. I was thinking in terms of what sort of programs at the granular level that students and indeed academic staff may be engaged in as a way to sustain what we're trying to actually achieve. I'm thinking in terms of perhaps the intra-Africa academic mobility scheme, of which my center is actually running one of them in Africa. I could see we're bringing students from all over Africa together to go to various institutions, but also academic as well. Is there something that you're thinking perhaps along those particular lines? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Professor Pascal Anosike. And I'd like to let the attendees here know that 336 that I have here, we used to be, 336, to let you know that, yes, that's going to happen. And we're going to build on what you are doing and a number of other initiatives in the continent. The AAU has a number of such initiatives. And we're going to bring all of them together for the purpose of sharing resources, sharing ideas, and implementing all of this to the betterment of the continent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Okebukula. I now have that honor to invite no other person than our Professor Olusola Oyewole, the Secretary General of the AAU, to now launch the AAU Ambassador for Higher Education in West Africa and probably give a little background of the whole concept. Thank you. Prof. Oyewole, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Goski-Alabi. I also want to appreciate Professor Peter Okebukola for that very insightful presentation, very concise, on the Addis Ababa Convention. As I mentioned at the beginning, the intention of AAU, part of our mission is to see that we promote the quality of higher education in Africa. We are also concerned about the youths of Africa. We want universities in Africa to bring out products that have the skills and competencies that will drive our development. AAU also has responsibilities to our policymakers. We have noticed that many policies that emanate from Africa, they are not database. And we want to initiate the process whereby African countries and African leaders will make decisions based on policies. And it is in this wise that we've decided to set up what we call the AAU Policy Forum. It is one of the avenues through which we want to provide policy direction and capacity building in all the regions of Africa in the areas of higher education. We want our higher education system to be competitive, and we want them to make impact on our development. It is in this wise that we've been able to identify 5 regional fora in Africa. Regional fora that will constitute the AAU Higher Education Regional Forum in each region for the empowerment of institutions in Africa. It is in this way that we have set up the AAU Higher Education Regional Forum for West Africa. And this initiative in West Africa is going to be led by the AAU Higher Education Ambassador for West Africa. Let me briefly mention the responsibilities of the AAU ambassadors. Number 1, the AAU ambassador will operate under the auspices of AAU to organize seminars on relevant higher education issues with participation from all the networks in Africa and beyond. Number 2, the ambassador of AAU in higher education is being empowered to organize capacity building workshops on behalf of AAU and in consultation with AAU. Number 3, this AAU ambassador will serve by invitation as a resource person to AAU projects and other internal and external activities. And lastly, we believe that it is high time that we should be able to provide annual reports about the state of higher education in Africa. And we expect that the AAU ambassadors will help us to generate the annual reports on the state of higher education in their various regions. It is my joy and pride to announce that the first AAU higher education ambassador in Africa, incidental this for West Africa, is no other person than Professor Peter Akinshola Okebukola. Permit me to say some things about this very distinguished African. Professor Peter A. Okebukola, OFR, is a distinguished professor of science and computer education. I would say Professor Emeritus of Science and Computer Education at Lagos State University. He had his higher education at the University of Ibadan, where he obtained his bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees in science education. He has specialized science and technology training at the MIT and Harvard University, both in Cambridge, USA. He's a fellow of the International Academy of Education, and between 1997 and 2007, he was the African representative on the executive committee of the International Council of Association for Science Education. I will not bother us to say more, but to say that he was the former executive secretary of the National University Commission in Nigeria, where he provided direction to higher education in that country. I will tell you, following the expiration of his tenure at that university, at the National University Commission, Professor Okebukola keeps on impacting on higher education and university education in Nigeria. Just recently, he organized capacity building initiatives for directors of academic planning in the whole of Africa. And we believe that we can key in to this great experience for it not just to impact academia in Nigeria, but the whole of Africa. Permit me at this time, ladies and gentlemen, with applause from all of us, to welcome the first higher education ambassador for Africa, Professor Peter Okebukola. You are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our Professor Olushola Oyewole, Secretary General, AAU. And now, shall we gladly invite Professor Okebukola, the distinguished professor, to give us a brief on his new office as ambassador of the Higher Education Forum West Africa. Distinguished Professor.
Yes, thank you very much. If you need a visa, I will sign. I will issue a visa too. And then I need a car. I need all the things that
already
that
provided.
an ambassador should have. That's by way
already provided.
Yeah, no, that's by way, but that's by way of a joke. I was asked by Professor Yuwale to play back video. Do you want to play that back, sir?
Yes, we want you to play it back, and we
okay.
want all of us to please enjoy this presentation.
All right, sir. Let me get it. And then share. 1 minute now. Let me be sure that I'm sharing the audio. Yes.
On behalf of the Association of African Universities, Accra, Ghana, I congratulate a great scholar and an ambassador par excellence, Professor Peter Okebukola, on his retirement from the services of Lagos State University. I want to congratulate you for the career that is inundated with notable achievements. Congratulations for flying the flag of Africa in many international higher education fora. You are a person of excellence, and you put your touch of excellence in everything you do. We celebrate your phenomenal achievements, not just as the Executive Secretary of the National University Commission in Nigeria, but also your great contributions, especially in the areas of quality assurance and accreditation processes. You have served as a consultant to the Association of African Universities on many higher education initiatives. You have also made notable contributions to the African Union Commission higher education programs, such as the African Quality Rating Mechanism, AQRM, the Pan-African University Initiative, and the virtual capacity building programs for academics in Africa. Your roles in providing leadership for Guni Africa is highly commendable. Your high level of creativity and positive contributions have made great impacts on higher education in Africa. We are proud of the many learning platforms you created for higher education on the continent. On this occasion of your retirement from the services of Lagos State University, the Association of African Universities is honored to appoint you as an AAU Higher Education Ambassador for Africa. We are proud of your pursuit of excellence and your inspired leadership in Africa. Congratulations to a visionary leader, a great mentor, an innovative higher education icon of Africa and from Africa. Congratulations, Professor Peter Okebukola.
Thank you also very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Excellency, Professor Olusola Oyewole. So we have about 8 minutes or less. So what I've been asked to do by the moderator is to let you know what the whole thing from our end is about. And I've just entitled this "The Morning After Lunch." If you recall, the keynote address entitled "The Morning After the World Conference," Third World Conference. So it's the morning after lunch. So from tomorrow, June 10, what are we hoping to do? So let me share with you the work plan of the AAU Office of Higher Education Ambassador for West Africa. Our boss, the Professor Yuwale, has told us what the terms of reference are. But what we're hoping to do is to be driven by by number of frameworks. One is by the AAU strategic plan, and any assignments that the SG will give to us. And then the resolutions of the Third World Higher Education Conference, the future of higher education, Africa under the auspices of AAU. That means to work a work plan to be within that framework of the resolutions of the Third World Higher Education Conference. But this will have to be under the auspices of AAU, since we want Africa to take the lead. And they'll be looking at emerging issues in higher education in West Africa. And we'll be looking at Anglophone and Francophone mix. So all our activities will have, because our sub-region, if you like, West Africa, we have that Anglophone and Francophone people there. So the work plan will have the following elements. We're going to develop a strategic plan 2020-2025 because I have a 3-year life. And then we'll develop projects to address the themes of the World Conference on Higher Education 2022. We're going to have AAU ambassador webinar and monograph series. We're going to develop a database. That's one of the major things here. Database of institutions. So if you want to look at, if you want all institutions in West Africa, all the details concerning those institutions, you're going to find there. Details, telephone numbers, email IDs, and all that of vice chancellors, rectors, presidents, professors, a directory of professors in West Africa, in higher education, in higher education, directors of ICT and directors of academic planning. We're going to have annual conference, policy briefs, as our SG has told us, policy briefs. Then we're going to have AAU State of University Education. It's said in Africa, but you see, we are starting now to develop the one for West Africa. So the bigger picture can then come in. Ranking of universities in West Africa, virtual universities tour series, students leadership training in Nigeria. No, that is hosted in Nigeria, but for West Africa. Workshop on relevance of cultural practices, research exhibition, reducing Francophone, Anglophone gaps in academic networking, research grant. These are some of what we're going to be doing. What's our staffing like? Our staffing, you see, we have no money. We are not expecting any money from AAU. We are supposed to run this thing on voluntary basis. So we have a team of chartered accreditors and quality assurance practice, about 300 plus. They are waiting, to support the activities of this office. We have senior technical advisors for Shabani, Goski Alabi, Abesale Fuchi, Edum Wajuba, Samson Anyolaja, Abdullah Damo, Dr. Zachary Liri, and the rest that you can see on this screen. Yes, we have a website which we just started to build only a few days ago. If you go to this site, what you are going to see is this. You have so you have the office of the AAU ambassador for higher education in West Africa. You have staffing, the project, different project, the database, publications, blogs. So if you go to this site now, you're going to see something that is happening there. So that will be it. Again, we thank Professor Oyewole for giving us this opportunity. I want to assure you, sir, that we will not disappoint you. Thank you. Back to you, Professor Goski Alabi.
Thank you very much, our distinguished prof. Professor Oyewole, do I have your kind permission to confer on our distinguished prof the title Ambassador of Ambassadors of the Higher Education Forum Africa?
With all pleasure. He's a very distinguished professor.
Thank you very much.
Somebody's raising up a hand, Professor Walter.
Yes, please. Over to you, Professor Oyewole. We now ready for your closing remarks.
I just want to add my voice to congratulate Professor Kebukola on his well-deserved appointment as AAU Ambassador of Higher Education to Africa. I have known him, and I have no doubt that he will distinguish his duties as you have rightly laid out. And also congratulate the Secretary General Oyewole for the deserved appointment of Kebukola. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Walter. Over to you, sir, Professor Oyewole.
Yeah, all I need to do again is to appreciate every one of us present in this on this platform. Just sitting by me, I have Dr. Salifu, the UNESCO representative in Abuja, Nigeria. We are speaking from Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire at this time. And I also need to appreciate Professor Goski Alabi. She was with us for the past 2 days, and it will interest you to know that she's operating from the airport at Abidjan in this webinar. We want to thank you and indeed thank everybody. And lastly, I will not be able to thank Professor Kebukola enough for all that he had lined up for West Africa. and to know that we are going to appoint AAU higher education ambassadors for other regions in Africa. You can imagine what the state of higher education will be when all these activities are happening all over different regions in Africa. Thank you, God. Thank you, Professor Okebukola, for being very innovative, a great mentor, and I know that you will even go beyond what you have just said. We appreciate you, and we look forward to collaborating with you from AAU and doing our best for the advancement of higher education. I look at the work that I do in AAU. It's not just for higher education. We are building the future youths of Africa. Whatever we do for higher education, we are doing it to build up the future development of our country. Thank you, every one of us. We have over 300 people participating in this program today, and I want to tell Professor Okebukola, we are very proud of you. Thank you for accepting to be our ambassador. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, one and all. I'm honored, I'm delighted. I thank all those who have participated in this event, where we came to about 326 at some point. Is the show of Professor Olushola Oyewole. You are the voice of higher education in Africa, and we are your disciples, and we're just following you. I'd like to thank all of the persons who have attended outside our region. Cynthia, especially, we appreciate you. We appreciate the offer of support for Africa, and Stamenka, and all the ministers that are here. I cannot leave out thanking especially Professor Rukayat Hamed Rufai. Again, as I introduced her, she was one of the best ministers of education that Nigeria ever had. And I'd like to thank you, ma'am, for being here. Our vice chancellors, everybody, Professor Salifu in Abidjan. Show your face again. Well done. And we look forward to working with
of AI, big data applied to higher education. I want to stress this point.
That's good. Thank you very much. So bye now. You can see we kept well within time. We have 3 minutes.
And permit me to also appreciate Professor Ramon of Obrecht Global. Is been very supportive of higher education in Africa. We appreciate what he's doing. Thank you, Professor Ramon.
Yeah, thank you. So on that note, I have to get back to Professor Kosi Alabi, to officially announce that the event is closed.
Yes. Thank you very much, our distinguished prof and our Secretary General, Professor Olush Oyewole. On behalf of the entire team, led by our Secretary General, the AAU, we once again thank all of you, especially our key guests, our former minister, Her Excellency Ahmed Rufai, His Excellency Peter Wells, Her Excellency Cynthia Jackson Hammond, and of course our mamas, Trombik, and also Hasmik Torton, and our own Obrecht Global Ramon Torrent. We thank you all very much. We thank the over 326 participants, and especially we say a big thanks to the technical team who supported us to make this such a great success. Once again, thank you all and have a blessed day. Bye.
Yeah, by way of announcement, just a minute, by way of announcement, there's a reception at the Lagos Sheraton Hotel.
Yes.
I booked seats for 319 people. Now there are 322 persons in the room at peak. So you better come quickly, for the reception. And, I also like to announce that Professor Pascal Nosike is organizing a global event. Pascal, do you want to say a thing about it? The July 7th event in Wolverhampton. Do you want to say a thing about it? Do that quickly, please. You're not ready?
Yes, please, Pascal.
Pascal?
It needs to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let me see what I can get him on meter. Yes, Pascal.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for
just
inviting.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
It's going to be a big event. I think we have the honor of having Professor Okebukola as a keynote speaker. We also have the honor of having Professor Oyewole, our mayor, the mayor of the city, our vice chancellor, the Wolverhampton community. Professor Okebukola and Professor Oyewole are looking forward to seeing you. It's going to be a big event for higher education in Africa. And I'm hoping that when we do publish it by next week, all of you will actually attend. You are all welcome, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor Oyewole, thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.